Good day, good morning, good afternoon, Solomon Secrets. Wanted to chat a little bit about this morning about the importance of communication, how to master communication and how that can help us solve conflicts. And indeed, for the sake of a timestamp, during difficult times, communication becomes even that much more important. And I believe that the Solomon Secrets today has a lot to say about what and how, if we use our words wisely, we can build up or we can contribute to tear down. And it is interesting also to see how, truly how communication is, how we can manage. If we master communication, we can manage conflict. And it is interesting because also there is a time, for polarity, right? And we'll look at that a little bit as well. And I'll explain a little bit more as far as what I mean by polarity and what Solomon Secrets has to say about, that as well. But so here's what's interesting. So it says, and here's what we can keep in mind as we go through. And this is not just for such a time as this, but it is also in life in general, in business, in times of, communication. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And think about that. A soft answer, especially now, right? When we're fine-tuned to what people are saying. Do we watch our words carefully? Do we pay attention to how we say things? The tone of voice is sometimes what we talk a lot about in our home, right? What tone? How's the communication happening? Is it with harsh words or is it with a soft answer, right? And the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, but the mouth of fools pours forth foolishness. So here's something really to keep in mind. So as we go through, as we hear things, as we're participating and just being aware, are we contributing with our mouths and pouring forth foolishness like the fools? Or are we actually really paying attention and using our words, using our tongue wisely in the answers that we give or the communication that we contribute with? I think that's so important to really let that sink in a little bit, let that, really evaluate, become aware. Becoming aware of what we say, I think is what really opens up and allows us to, to really, I keep coming back to this, either to contribute or to pour down. It's interesting. John Maxwell, who's, again, master of leadership, he says, manage communication and you can manage conflict. And tone has so much to do with that. A soft answer, right, versus a harsh word. Harsh words, I think we've all experienced it. We've all probably even contributed. In especially maybe in within inside the four walls with our families, right? Sometimes, that's where the harsh words probably come out most often, right? Unfortunately, the people we love. How can we be conscientious of that inside of our home? Using soft answers, having a dialogue, having good communication, remaining calm and gentle when we confront issues. And even today, being calm and collective when we're talking about what's going on, right? Speak wisely, making sure that our information is truthful and accurate, right? When we speak, that we have our facts in order, that we don't contribute with falsehood, right? With falseness in communication. Use words that foster healing, fix the problem and not the blame. These are some thoughts of even, John Maxwell that he's contributed with. So, and stay teachable. having a teachable spirit, having a teachable attitude that, we've always something, we all have something to learn. And then adding value to everyone who contacts you. How can I bring value to the marketplace? How can I share and contribute to where it may be bringing some comfort, maybe bringing some uplifting message or calmness in dialogue and communication. And then speaking words that spread knowledge and understanding. How do we contribute with that? This says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. And a wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it breaks the spirit. Those are words, right? The words that we speak. And it is interesting, and I'll touch on this briefly as well, because, the Solomon Secrets has a lot to say about timing as well. There's a time for everything. And I touched on this a little bit. If you follow me on Facebook, on the public page, I talked a little bit about the law of polarity yesterday, that I encourage you maybe to go back and just listen into, because it's interesting. And Solomon Secrets has a lot to say about timing, polarity meaning, everything has an opposite, left, right, top, bottom, good, bad, joy, sorrow, winning, losing. Could you win if you couldn't lose? No, right? And that's the interesting part. Could there be abundance if there was not lack? No. And that's where Solomon's Secrets, has some great insight. There's a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Isn't that interesting? Social distancing is what they're talking about today. There's a time for it, and there's time not to do it. There's a time to gain, and there's a time to lose. A lot of people right now, I guess, are experiencing, what it feels like to lose, whether that's losing jobs, losing income, losing peace of mind, right? But then there is a time to gain, equally important. Let's not forget about the time to gain. There's a time to keep silent, and there's a time to speak. How often, have I been guilty of maybe opening my mouth when really the time was to be silent, to keep quiet? There's a time to love, and there's a time to hate. And it says there's a time for war, and there's a time for peace. Those are true timeless principles. Those are fundamentals. There's a time to keep and a time to throw away. There's a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted. A time to weep and a time to laugh. These are all examples of the law of polarity. Those are laws. We are all familiar with the law of gravity. We accept that. We don't question it. We don't even think about it, right? You step off the porch, you fall down. We don't even argue or question it at all. We may not be as bought into, or as understanding, maybe be the right word. We may question sometimes this law of polarity, where there is an opposite. I love what Jim Rohn used to say. He said, "There's never been a double night." Or there's never been a double winter, right? Spring always follows winter. And that's, there's always, after the valley, there's always a peak. And I think that's so important to remember today, to keep in mind, after war, there's peace. After difficult times, there's goodness. After sorrow, there's joy. And I think that's what I want to kind of, just for us to remember today, when you may have thoughts of pressure, when fear tries to creep in, that you can know that there is peace of mind, and that there is comfort, there's joy. And so keep those little thoughts in mind, where a soft answer turns away wrath, and a harsh word stirs up anger. And let's be wise with the use of our tongue, that we're actually using it rightly, and that we don't pour forth foolishness in our communication, in our dialogue, in our communication with others, with our loved ones, and everybody that we do come in contact with. So, some thoughts for today. Hope you're having a great day, and look forward to chatting real soon. See you guys.